y casi 30 representantes de la sociedad civil, juventudes, sector privado y gobiernos locales. Las consultas se centraron en el intercambio de políticas y prácticas bajo las 6 prioridades temáticas, con más de 260 prácticas compartidas en todas las regiones y sectores. Las actividades preparatorias adicionales incluyeron un taller temático en Túnez sobre el compromiso de la diáspora para la inversión y el desarrollo sostenible, con más de 340 participantes. También es el momento de reconocer que cada presidencia impulsa iniciativas que manejan el foro y lo mejoran, amplían su alcance y fortalecen su impacto. La presidencia de Colombia ha procurado traer innovación y nuevos enfoques, abordando mayor interactividad y un diálogo más enriquecedor. Los resultados de esta cumbre los vamos a escuchar en la sesión de cierre de esta tarde. Sin embargo, permítanme contarles que hemos tenido la participación de más de 70 estados, 61, acaban de informarse, y 1.500 asistentes aproximadamente. Es la primera vez que contamos con la participación en un Foro Mundial de Migración y Desarrollo de un presidente de la República, además de nuestra ministra de Relaciones Exteriores y de los 2 viceministros de Relaciones Exteriores. Esto sin duda muestra nuestro compromiso inquebrantable con la temática de migración y la protección de derechos humanos. También quiero compartirles que hasta la fecha no se ha identificado todavía un país que se candidatice para la presidencia con el objeto de continuar el trabajo más allá de la presidencia de Colombia. Pero estamos haciendo esfuerzos para encontrar uno y tenemos esperanzas de lograrlo pronto. Esta situación ha motivado discusiones sobre la continuidad del foro y las modalidades para gestionar la transición. A su vez, ofrece una oportunidad para reflexionar sobre cómo asegurar que el Foro Mundial de Migración y Desarrollo siga siendo una plataforma coherente, efectiva y pertinente para el diálogo sobre migración. Permítanme pasar a referirme a ustedes en inglés para hacer la moderación con nuestros participantes. First, we hear about the key recommendations from the Tunis workshop shared with the broader DFMP community. And I would very like to give the floor to Ms. La Sali, Director General of Migration and Tunisians Abroad. Dear Sharon, you have 5 minutes.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez-moi d'abord d'exprimer ma profonde gratitude à la République de Colombie pour cet accueil chaleureux pour le choix de cette belle ville de Rio Hacha, ainsi que pour l'organisation de la 15e édition du programme de migration et de développement. Notre rencontre ici aujourd'hui témoigne de notre volonté commune de faire de la migration un défi du développement mondial, topographique et solidaire. La Tunisie, engagée dans cette même vision, a placé l'année 2025 sous le signe de la consolidation de la crise, de renforcement des partenariats, en particulier dans le domaine de la migration et la valorisation de sa diaspora comme acteur de développement. Les initiatives récentes de la Tunisie, dont notamment l'organisation du Forum national, M. le Président de la SAE, et en partenariat avec l'OIM et la présidence colombienne du FMND, avec le soutien de l'Agence italienne pour la coopération et le développement. Cet atelier a rassemblé les représentants du gouvernement, des organisations internationales et régionales, de la diaspora, de la société civile, du monde académique, du secteur public et des jeunes. Je tiens ici à exprimer ma gratitude à l'investissement de la diaspora dans le contenu des incitations concrètes et des infrastructures adaptées. Cela implique des réformes réglementaires, des mesures fiscales avantageuses, l'accès à des zones économiques spéciales, la création d'entreprises de centres nationales et la réglementation avec les nationales. 3. Exploiter les plateformes numériques partenariat, l'utilisation des solutions telles pour les transferts de fonds et la participation active à la formulation des politiques publiques à travers les outils de communication évolutive. 4. Promouvoir le transfert de compétences et l'échange de connaissances grâce à l'expertise diasporique à travers les programmes sectoriels de migration secondaire, verticale ou coopérée. C'est le Mundial. Il s'agit d'institutionnaliser la collecte et l'analyse de données sur l'impact de la diaspora, de participer activement à la plateforme régionale et d'intégrer les flux financiers de la diaspora dans les écosystèmes internationaux. Et selon ce Dieu, cette stratégie a parfaitement illustré la volonté d'organiser de choisir les dynamiques nationales, régionales et internationales de l'objectif commun, valoriser le potentiel des diasporas en tant qu'actrices à part entière du développement durable et d'explorer les leviers permettant de mieux canaliser les compétences et les initiatives des communautés expatriées vers les priorités économiques et sociales des pays d'origine. Je tiens à cet égard à réaffirmer que la Tunisie poursuivra cet engagement dans le cadre d'un partenariat structuré avec l'OIM. Ce partenariat est exemplaire sur le plan politique, opérationnel et stratégique. Ensemble, nous avons développé des initiatives concrètes en matière de migration, dans le renforcement de la capacité nationale, de gestion de la migration de main-d'œuvre, de promotion du développement local ancré dans nos politiques. Et la Tunisie partage une vision commune d'une migration humaine, inclusive et tournée vers les opportunités. Et dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre des recommandations de l'atelier de Tunis, nous avons lancé, avec le soutien de l'OIM, une formation sur la loi parodie de cartographie diaspora, renforçant ainsi les capacités du cadre des affaires étrangères et d'autres institutions publiques afin de mieux comprendre l'écologie potentielle de la diaspora. Au-delà des activités, notre démarche vise à trouver des résultats concrets et grâce au plan d'action élaboré avec l'OIM, nous souhaitons mieux comprendre et mobiliser les financements de la diaspora pour soutenir les initiatives économiques durables, valoriser la diaspora comme partenaire stratégique de développement durable de la Tunisie et faciliter son engagement dans les projets de développement et d'investissement. Les recommandations de Tunis se traduisent ainsi pour une feuille de route opérationnelle orientée vers l'impact et le résultat, renforçant le rôle de la diaspora dans le développement économique et social du pays. Nous comptons également capitaliser sur la réussite des programmes de coopération pour les substances porteurs de richesse et de prospérité avec l'ensemble de nos partenaires bilatéraux et multilatéraux pour traiter de façon plus efficace les questions migratoires. Nous croyons fermement que l'avenir de la coopération internationale en matière de migration passe par l'innovation, la solidarité et la responsabilité partagée. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes tous ici, État, Agence internationale, collectivités locales et communautés historiques, appelés à renforcer les synergies pour porter ensemble une migration réelle, sécurisée, sécurisée et tournée vers la prospérité. Faisons ce sommet un moment de convergence et d'engagement politique, transformons nos recommandations en chantier commun, nos dialogues en action concrète et que la migration devienne plus que jamais un pilier de développement partagé. Je vous remercie pour votre attention.
Merci beaucoup, mes amis. Qu'on a eu à Tunisie. Et aussi, permettez-moi également de signaler qu'on a été très impressionnés dans ce pays au sujet des amis, parce que vous avez été très responsable là-dessus et votre participation à des forums mondiaux sur la migration et le développement est très important, très important. Merci beaucoup. Professor of Information Systems, the Foro, Business School at the London University, supervised the privilege of the 15th century as an academic. Professor Ari, you have the floor.
Muchas gracias, Ambassador. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Laura Raffo Blanco, for your kind invitation to me to offer these few remarks. It's a huge honor. uncover challenges and solutions, addressing mobility of women, children, young people on the move, culture and media for changing narratives on migration, promise and perils of tech, climate mobility, and the critical importance of regional cooperation and partnerships. So through these 3 days, and the day before, led by the various mechanisms, and I was at the civil society game that day, it was absolutely amazing. We discussed, we shared, we challenged, we disagreed, we sat around tables, we learned from each other, we connected with some old friends, and made meetings. The GFMP's unique framework that connects the key stakeholders is really something fantastic and to be proud of and to cherish, and we hope it continues. It must serve as a safe space where frank discussions are not just encouraged but essential, and failures shared while successes are celebrated, and where accepted wisdom is challenged and difficult questions asked. There was plenty of evidence for all of this over the past few days. The Columbia Chair's innovation of the round tables made it possible for so many more of us to come together and to debate and reconstruct issues, explore challenges, share ideas and solutions. The decision paid off. It was probably risky, but we all love talking. But it paid off. Excellent engagement in almost every session that myself and colleagues here attended. And there was lots of sharing experiences across stakeholder groups. I think that's the most important feature of this, the fact that we can talk to each other in a safe and informed environment. So that's important. So thank you, Columbia Chair, for welcoming academia in this year's GFMP process. Academics, we are natural boundary spanners. We can help with evidence-based policy making. And not all of us sit in offices without engaging with the world around us. We have the chance to learn from you, from all the different stakeholders. So I hope the GFMP process will continue to engage academia. I want to end with a quote from Seneca. I'm not born for one corner. The whole world is my native land. So we live in a world that's ever shrinking through digital technologies, but sometimes you might wonder that we've never been further apart. So it's forums like this, GFMD, that reminds us of our connectedness, and it inspires us to resist narrow-minded localism, to reclaim our inherent humanity, and realize fair and just mobility for all. So muchas gracias a todos en GFMP, muchas gracias Viahacha for hosting us, for all the smiling folks who fed us, welcomed us, secured us. Muchas gracias Laura, and thank you Barbara, Camille, and Paula. Thank you so much.
Now we give the floor to Mr. Florian Hart, representing France, who served as the GFMP chairs in 2022-2023. So, open reflections on the legacy, evolution, and continuity of the GFMP in process. Mr. Florian Hart is head of the Development and Democratic Governance Division, Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs. Florian, let me take this opportunity to thank you for proposing Colombia 1.5 years ago to chair the Foro, and for all your commitment to the process. Dear Florian,
merci beaucoup. Mesdames et messieurs les directrices et directeurs généraux, mesdames et messieurs les ambassadeurs, mesdames et messieurs les délégués, chers amis du Forum, et tous à tous panel d'experts, en passant par des sessions des mécanismes, des initiatives de la jeunesse et des événements parallèles, a permis d'amplifier la véritable force de ce forum, sa dimension collaborative. Je tiens également à remercier la Colombie d'avoir conduit le processus autour de thématiques qui, pour moi, sont fondamentales, comme la promotion des droits humains, les questions relatives au genre, la jeunesse, ou encore celles relatives au changement climatique. Enfin, je tenais particulièrement à saluer la part accordée à la recherche du monde académique. C'était des recommandations d'ailleurs qu'on avait transmises au de la Colombie lors de notre présidence. Pour nous, c'est un secteur, le monde de la recherche, avec lequel on doit nécessairement renforcer nos liens tout au long de ce processus et de ce forum. Ces contributions doivent toujours contribuer plus fortement aux travaux du forum, à l'élaboration de nos projets, tout comme à celle de nos politiques. Toutes ces innovations ont été cruciales et la Colombie a su conduire le forum avec succès, alors même que sa présidence intervient dans un contexte particulier qui est celui de la critique de plus en plus brisante du multilatéralisme. Ce processus, comme d'autres d'ailleurs, font plus face à un questionnement sur la continuité de ces activités. Pour autant, et je tenais à souligner ici, si nous sommes réunis ici, c'est que nous partageons ensemble le même intérêt pour ce multilatéralisme qui fonde nos relations. Nous partageons le même intérêt pour les enjeux de mobilité humaine et leur lien avec le développement durable parce qu'il s'agit d'une question qui nous concerne tous. Cette question migratoire, et je tenais à insister là-dessus, on le sait, est une question sensible. Elle hystérise les débats et cette hystérisation vient de tous les bords. Cette question migratoire, elle a besoin d'espaces de discussion comme ce forum où doivent primer les faits sur les débats passionnels. Il nous appartient donc de continuer à faire vivre le dialogue international sur ces sujets pour que subsiste encore et toujours une parole objective. Dans la suite de cette session, nous aurons l'occasion d'entendre les différents scénarios présentés par la Colombie pour les mois à venir. Je vous remercie ainsi que le secrétariat du Forum pour l'élaboration de ce document. Il nous permettra d'avoir une vision plus claire sur les perspectives d'avenir de ce forum. La France, évidemment, se joindra volontiers à la réflexion qui en découlera, notamment en partageant amplement les analyses tirées de sa propre présidence, ainsi que les pistes qui ont émergé du comité qui préside avec l'Égypte sur le financement du forum. Je sais combien les enjeux de financement sont clés. Nous devons financer aujourd'hui encore le secrétariat qui est essentiel pour ce forum, mais ils ne doivent pas, ces enjeux financiers, cristalliser l'ensemble de nos discussions. Notre énergie doit également être déployée autour de l'identification d'une vision commune pour le forum. Il est impératif de déterminer ce que nous souhaitons pour l'avenir en termes de thématiques traitées, de formats retenus, ainsi que de livrables. C'est de notre engagement pour le processus que développeront des solutions pour le rendre agile et utile pour la communauté. Dans cette réflexion, il nous importera de ne pas oublier ce qui fait la plus-value et l'unicité du forum. Son cadre inclusif, son cadre ouvert. C'est lui et lui seul qui permet de dialoguer sur ces sujets parfois complexes, il faut bien le reconnaître. C'est encore lui, par l'initiation de nos discussions avec des acteurs divers, qui permet de faire émerger des solutions innovantes. Ce forum mondial sur la migration et le développement est une enceinte unique. Il tire sa valeur de l'engagement des États qui sont bien sûr une composante essentielle, mais aussi de tous les autres acteurs qui sont également partie prenante. Je pense notamment au mécanisme de la société civile, du secteur privé, des maires et bien sûr
discussion this year on women, youth, climate change, technology and regional cooperation have reaffirmed a simple truth. Migration is not a threat to be contained, but a driver of resilience, prosperity and innovation when managed responsibly. To unlock this potential, migration governments must align with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Global Compact for Migration, ensuring that human rights are respected at every stage of the journey. IOM's strategic plan for 2024 to 2028 calls for precisely this, an approach that places people at the centre, reduces inequalities and strengthens resilience in the face of crises of climate change, and the GFMD is uniquely placed to nurture such narratives and bridge the policy gap between migration and sustainable development. Secondly, fostering a whole society approach. The Colombian chairship has continued to demonstrate the value of the GFMD in the dialogue that is not limited to governments alone, but enriched by local authorities, civil society, the private sector, diaspora actors, academia and youth. IOM strongly believes that this is the future of migration governance, not a fragmented debate, but a community of action. For example, the engagement of the private sector actors in skills-mobility partnerships or cities in migrant and inclusion shows how solutions are generated when all voices are heard. Thirdly, promoting innovation and bold collaboration. Multilateral forums like the GFMD are important spaces for new ideas. From its inception, the GFMD has provided fertile ground for experimenting in partnerships, testing new approaches, and informing intergovernmental processes. Today, the world faces accelerated pressures. Demographic shifts, climate-driven displacement, technological disruption, and geopolitical fragmentation. We must continue to respond to these challenges by linking migration debates to ambitious solutions in climate finance, in digital transformation, and across regional integration agendas. IOM stands ready to support the Member States in piloting innovative solutions, documenting their practices, and connecting evidence to policy making. The GFMD does not negotiate on the case, but it does something equally powerful. It builds trust, it fosters partnerships, and charts new directions. As we look forward to the years ahead, IOM reaffirms its commitment to the forum's institutional partner and to provide technical expertise and to promote the whole society approach that will be indispensable for the transformative power of migration to be realised. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Secretariat and to Nara and the team in the Colombian for points for the Chancellor for all the support, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, on behalf of the Chinese government, I would like to express our appreciation to the government of Colombia and the IOM for their efforts in preparing this global forum on migration and development. We believe that with the active participation of all parties, this event will achieve success. Against the backdrop of complex and profound development in the current international and regional landscape, the number of global migration continues to rise. International migration activities are becoming increasingly complex, and migration issues are drawing greater attention from the international community. Meanwhile, certain countries are pursuing unilateralism and prioritizing their own interests above all else. Have arbitrarily tightened migration and border policies and reduced assistance to the IOM, making global migration governance more challenging. In response, the international community should uphold true multilateralism, strengthen unity and cooperation, and jointly address these challenges. This forum provides a valuable opportunity for countries to discuss global migration governance. I would like to share the following 4 views. First, adhering the correct direction of international migration governance. Global migration plays a positive role in inclusive growth and sustainable development, making outstanding contributions to economic and social progress of all countries. The international community should embrace the concept of a community with a shared future for mankind, safeguard normal migration channels, and propose the politicization and organization of migration issues. China supports the IOM's leading and coordinating role in global migration and enhancing the representation of developing countries within this organization. The Global Compact for Migration provides an important opportunity for countries to engage in an equal and mutually beneficial cooperation on migration. Each country should implement it in coordinates with their own national conditions and local contexts. Second, strengthening international cooperation on migration. Imbalance development is a major root cause of migration, and the fundamental solution lies in sustainable development. Developed countries should earnestly fulfill their assistance commitments to developing countries, helping immigration-origin countries to develop their economies, improve livelihoods, and enhance sustainable development capabilities. Countries of immigration, transit, and destination should strengthen cooperation within bilateral and multilateral frameworks, continuously optimize policies and measures for cross-border movement and migration management services, and foster a virtuous cycle of multi-level interactions and mutual reinforcement at the global, regional, and national levels to strengthen global migration governance. Third, protecting the legitimate rights and interests of migrant groups. Countries should adopt a more open, inclusive, and fair attitude toward migrants, create conditions for their integration into local communities, and enable migrants to become contributors to and beneficiaries of sustainable development. A zero-tolerance approach should be taken against ideologies and acts that discriminate against and stigmatize migrants, with emphasis on safeguarding their legitimate rights and interests and creating a fair and favorable living environment for them. At the same time, cross-border law enforcement and security cooperation should be strengthened to combat illegal activities such as smuggling and human trafficking through international cooperation and comprehensive measures ensuring safe, orderly, and regular migration. Fourth, enhancing the application of new technologies in migration governance. With the rapid development of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and big data, international community should give attention to the impact of new technologies on migration issues, leverage their positive role in migration management, and utilize new technologies to improve migrant identification capabilities and scientifically predict labor migration trends, thereby ensuring safe, orderly, and regular migration. Developed countries should assume greater responsibility, strengthen capability building, cooperation, and data sharing with developing countries, and narrow the digital divide in global migration governance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, distinguished representative of China and Republic, for your pertinent comments. Thank you very much.
Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Tanya Shepard. I'm a UNICEF representative. So I've been very short. Thank you to Columbia. Thank you to Diana, obviously, and all the panelists. UNICEF would just like to ask, as we are discussing the future of the forum, that the key elements of youth participation remain part part of it. For us, it is a critical component, and I think it is a very necessary part of this forum, so we really want to advocate for that. And likewise, the methodology of roundtable is very much appreciated, and we would think that that would be a useful methodology to continue to use in future forums. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Buenos días. Jennifer Feller, directora general de Derechos Humanos y Democracia de México. Bueno, primero felicitar a Colombia por la presidencia y el éxito de esta cumbre. Segundo, también subrayar que desde que fue creado y hasta la fecha México ha sido consistente en apoyar los trabajos del foro, tanto financieramente como a través de nuestra participación activa y tratar justamente de generar un diálogo abierto y honesto sobre este tema, que pues, al final de cuentas es el valor agregado de un mecanismo como este, en donde tenemos justamente sociedad civil, academia y muchos otros actores involucrados en este tema. Como lo dijo la representante de la OIM en el panel, para nosotros es muy importante fortalecer el foro porque tenemos que seguir hablando sobre el hecho de que la migración no es una amenaza, sino una fuerza de cambio. Y en ese sentido, pues, presidente, de cara al complejo contexto que enfrentamos, para nosotros es muy importante continuar revitalizando y dar continuidad a los trabajos de este foro. Vemos con preocupación el hecho de que no hemos encontrado un nuevo presidente y en este sentido, en caso de que al 31 de octubre de 2025 ningún Estado miembro haya expresado su interés por asumir la presidencia, México podría eventualmente sumarse a los esfuerzos de la Troika para identificar un nuevo presidente o copresidentes, como ya ha sido el caso en el pasado. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señora Pérez. Muchas gracias a nuestro procedimiento. Confiamos en poder llegar a ese 31 de octubre con una solución encontrada. Hemos avanzado bastante en este camino, pero muchas gracias, un buen anuncio y muy estimado. Luego de Bélgica tiene la palabra, por favor.
Cargado de negocios de Bélgica en Colombia, muchas gracias. So yeah, I would like to begin by expressing Belgium's sincere appreciation to the Colombian presidency and the Foreign Secretary for the delegation and for successfully convening this summit under a difficult financial context and multilateral context. And so the GFMD has always been important for Belgium. We had the honor of chairing the very first summit, the presidency in Brussels in 2007. In many ways, GFMD was a pioneer in promoting a balanced and constructive narrative on migration. And over the years, I think Belgium, we are convinced that Belgium has remained deeply committed to the GFMD. Beyond our initial leadership role, we have consistently supported the GFMD, among other things through financial funding and the engagement of our civil society and other stakeholders. This year again, I think our Belgian Agency for International Cooperation enabled a successful side event also on climate mobilities. So looking ahead, Belgium strongly values the forum as a state-led process that enables multi-stakeholder discussion on topics that, to be honest, are rarely discussed and addressed in other dialogues. So we appreciate its informal nature, which fosters the exchange of views, ideas and best practices of sensible and complex migration topics, and we recognize the wealth of knowledge that has been built over the years. So the forum also provides a valuable opportunity to deepen our partnerships with many partners, also academic this year, and countries around the world. So moving forward, the GFMD must continue to leverage its added value and complement other mechanisms, which is really the most important thing, in line with broader resilience efforts across the multilateral landscape. Belgium invites and all friends of the forum to reflect on the best way forward for this dialogue, including ideas of redesigning its format if necessary, and to enhance coordination between the GFMD and all other processes, such as the UN Network on Migration. We hope that the next presidency, who it will be, whoever it will be, will place this important
an Indonesian ambassador, almost 40 years my career as a diplomat, and in 20 years, almost half of my career, I judged with my workers. 20 years ago, I was director for protections of my workers, and before I came here, I was as a chairman of national board for enrichment and protection migrant workers. Indonesia have almost 9 million migrant workers in 156 countries, and this is my experience. Even until now, there is a lot of problems on the ground with the migrant workers, and Indonesia, since the last 2 decades, changed the law and extended the professional skilled workers, and then made stop the low level because of problems there, and then also make it illegal because there is a lot of third parties, including traffickers, and we fight against this kind of practices. And now we understand that most the countries zero growth, and they have no choice. They must receive the migrant workers. So this forum is very, very important, of course, how to bridge between the sending countries and receiving countries. However, we are also very much aware that the practical hurdles that the GFM is facing should these hurdles overcome. We would like to propose that the GFMP should embrace new forms of engagement, leveraging technology, and that should more responsive and impactful outcomes. GFMP should focus on practical and actions-oriented recommendation skills and development, levelability, pathway, sustainable migration strategies, as well as how migration can contribute to the economy of developing countries. In line with these visions and mindful of the GFM flexible, informal and candid nature, as well as its recurring budgetary constraint, Indonesia believes that the forum must continue to strengthen its budgetary efficiency and prioritize activities that deliver concrete action-oriented results. By focusing resources strategically, the GFMP can maintain its role as a space for frank, constructive dialogue among all stakeholders, showing the strength of the account. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, Mr. Gates, the future of the GFMP lies in our collective commitment to adapt, innovate, and prioritize practical outcomes. Indonesia offers its support for the forum and stands ready to contribute actively shaping of the GFMP that continues to be an inclusive, forward-looking, and impactful platform for addressing migration in all its dimensions for the benefit of the migrant and societies alike. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. The David is honored to take part in this The GFMP was born as a wonderful experiment, space for dialogue, partnership, and innovation outside the usual negotiating points. It has shown that migration, when covered well, is not a crisis to be managed, but a force for good, a bridge to shared prosperity. The Philippines is proud of one service forum in 2008, in the second year, and have been leading deeply engaged ever since. Yet, the institution was the GFMP faces challenges and even participation that came from the legislative processes, financial restraints, and questions of relevance. But these do not erase its legacy and challenge us to learn. The Philippines is very in supporting and contributing to the GFMP, should move forward in the community. The continuation of migration discussions is necessary, and as now rendered in the crucial despite this difficulty. Looking forward to welcoming you here, a state that has the capacity to do so will step up to take the helm from our nation's Colombian. The Philippines will continue to be a donor, advocate, and active member of the GFMD steering group, while we ourselves also continue to generate and promote continued migration discussions as chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations in 2026. But if the process must evolve or conclude, we are equally ready to honor its legacy while ensuring the dialogue and migration continues in other proper multilateral forums. The wisdoms and conversations we have had should translate into actionable partnerships, measurable projects, and a sharper influence on global migration governance. The Philippines stands ready to work with all of you to ensure that the issue of migration and discussions its importance remains not just relevant, but indispensable, a living testament that global dialogue can make a real difference in the lives of migrants and their families. The Philippines is ready to collaborate in this transition, to live what works, retire what does not, and place migration governance where it can be done, firmly anchored in human rights, responsive to needs of migrants, states, regions, and corridors, and accountable to the SDGs that guide us all. What matters is not the form, but for us the substance. That our conversations, previous and future, yield partnerships, projects, and policies that make a tangible difference. Lower costs for workers, safer remittances, skills recognized, rights protected, and families rooted. Excellencies and events. Migration is not only about movement of people. It is about movement of ideas, resources, and growth. The GFMD capture that spirit and holds a moment in history. That spirit, open, practical, and multi-stakeholder, must endure wherever we are next. The Philippines stands ready to work with all of you to keep migration at the center of global governance, rooted in human rights, aligned with SDGs, and anchored in the dignity and aspirations of migrants. Processes turn their place not by utility, but by the results they deliver. Together, let us ensure that migration remains not only relevant, but indispensable to a better future for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Les pido el favor, nos quedan 16 minutos y hay varias intervenciones. Yo los invito a que traten de presentar sus ideas y presentarlas en un minuto. Así podemos tiene la palabra el gobierno de Canadá.
Candidacy in GFMD is a vital space for open and inclusive dialogue on migration and development. Its strength lies in bringing together government, civil society, youth, local authorities, and private sector. Our continued engagement in the forum reflects our commitment to multilateral cooperation and a holistic approach to migration and human rights. We thank you also for sharing the options, papers, and bringing us together to discuss ways forward. Canada strongly supports continuing the GFMD with a new chair in office by the end of October, should that be possible. This offers the clearest path forward and ensures stability for all partners. Keeping the Secretariat funded and running smoothly across transitions and exploring a tribal model for future chairs, but also strengthening governance and continuity. We also acknowledge option 2, continuing under Trigger guidance without a new chair as a possible short-term solution, though one that would be perfect planning. Our preference is not to see an end to the GFMD as we strive for option 3, but we stand ready to help preserve the GFMD's most valuable elements through our multilateral platforms, should that outcome present itself. Canada has long been an active GFMD participant on the steering group, fundraising subcommittee, and as co-chair of the working group on public narratives. While we're not in a position to take on the chairship, we're open to targeted future support, including funding, to help ensure continuity. As we move through this transitional period, Canada re-emphasizes the importance of sound resource management, preserving institutional memory, and maintaining good communication with all stakeholders during the transition. Canada
Canada values the GFMD as a key forum for global cooperation on migration and development. We encourage all member states to support efforts to sustain it and look forward to working together on member states. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président, de nous donner l'opportunité de nous exprimer au nom de notre pays, le Burkina Faso, appelé autrement pays des hommes intègres. Je voudrais tout d'abord vous transmettre les chaleureuses salutations de nos plus hautes autorités du Burkina Faso. Comme vous le savez si bien, nous avons un président qui est l'un des plus jeunes du monde entier et qui a un esprit qu'on appelle un esprit révolutionnaire. Et cette vision aussi est incarnée à travers tous les discours que nous prononçons au sein des instances internationales. Alors, moi, personnellement, en tant que représentant du Burkina Faso, je suis au 2e Forum mondial. Et à partir du moment où nous sommes en train de réfléchir sur le futur du forum, je pense que nous réfléchissons en même temps sur le futur même de la pensée sur la migration. Alors, pour moi, il faut aller au-delà des réformes. On a vu que sous la présidence colombienne, il y a eu vraiment des réformes dans les formats. Mais il faut révolutionner le format du forum. J'ai fait ces petits constats. Regardez un peu dans la salle. Il y a combien de peaux noires comme moi? Vous allez faire le constat par rapport à la population jeune de l'humanité que l'Afrique est moins représentée dans ce forum. Alors que si nous voulons un forum inclusif, il faut véritablement qu'on pense à donner la place nécessaire aux Africains et à l'Afrique. Nous sommes quelques bénéficiaires, c'est vrai, mais si nous voulons que le forum puisse être un forum du futur, il faut penser au futur avec l'Afrique et pour l'Afrique. Et j'insiste là-dessus parce que même lors des discours, il faut que nous puissions quitter les discours standards des instances pour aller vers l'action. Faire de la parole, action. Beaucoup de pays se représentent ici avec des discours très beaux, mais sur le terrain, ce sont ces pays-là qui sont les champions en refoulement, qui sont les champions en violation des droits des migrants. Il faut que nous dépassons cela. Et pour moi, pour résoudre cette question, c'est une question fondamentale même de l'éducation humaine. Est-ce que je vois l'autre comme un homme? Est-ce que je considère que le monde appartient à tous les hommes? Pourquoi je vais me circoncire un îlot en disant que c'est mon pays? Personne n'a dit quoi dire entre nous. Voilà ce que je voudrais apporter à ces forums et que nous puissions approfondir la réflexion en allant de l'avant pour que ce forum puisse être un forum inclusif, un forum qui prend en compte toutes les préoccupations de la migration. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
President of the think tank Global Research Forum on Diaspora and Transnationalism, which is a member of the civil society mechanism. But above all, when I speak here, I stand here as a citizen of India, as a member of 1.4 billion population. That is the largest population of a single country, and that country represents the largest origin country of 35 billion people across the world, and the largest recipient of 140 billion US dollars per year. But these rosy stories are not good enough to satisfy us. This GFMD, hosted by Colombia as a developing country, because GFMD is alternating between the developed global north countries and the developing global south countries. It is heartening to know that the Colombia GFMD marks a big paradigm shift in the history of the 15-year history of the GFMD at a critical moment of the adverse environment that we are faced with and the migrants are faced with. My organization, the CSM, Civil Society Mechanism, has very innovatively provided a three-pronged motto of instruments to achieve the goals that each country can prioritize and these goals are called register, reclaim, and realize. And I am pleasantly surprised and at the same time feel rewarded that the President's address in the inaugural opening ceremony, full of historical evidences of slavery, also referred to India at least 4 times. The history of India, the Aryan civilization, and the contrast that we get between growth, civilization, humanity, and slavery on the other hand. So these are the reminders that I have not heard in any of the earlier GFMDs that I have attended or listened to. I am also delighted to say that in one of the roundtables yesterday, when I was summarizing our focus group recommendations for solutions for integration amongst countries, regional or global or sub-regional, I mentioned these 3 mottos: register, reclaim, and realize. And my colleague, a government representative from the Philippines, said that we need to add one more. So I said this register, reclaim, realize are, to speak the language of economics as a subject, are a necessary condition to satisfy, to achieve the goals, but they are not sufficient conditions. And my colleague from Philippines government said the sufficient condition is the response of the governments. I think that is the crux of the whole issue in terms of our future of the GFMD that we are looking forward to in terms of the Troika that will take the responsibility to take it forward. So here I would like to say that this GFMD is not an end in itself. In the context of the GCM, it is actually paving the pathway to the IMRF in 2026 in New York, and we have trepidation in terms of the location of the place, in terms of the content of the discussion that is going to take place in that country at this moment. I would like to, I'll just take 15 seconds to say that the future of GFMD on migration is at stake. At IMRF, we have heard 2 approaches, and it was mentioned here, the whole of government and the whole of society approach. And it is a pity that we have left out the most important approach, that is the whole of migrants. Because migrants are treated as a homogeneous category, which they are not. It is a heterogeneous category. Youth were mentioned, women were mentioned, children were mentioned, LGBTQ were mentioned, and physically handicapped were mentioned, and so on. You name it. The migrants are representative of the entire range of people that we come across. Unless and until we take them into the fold, we will be only talking about imaginary and unachievable targets. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Comme chez moi. Alors, je suis Madame Azoun Nejma, je représente la mission Cameroun du Cameroun à Genève, et effectivement, on a très bien été accompagnés par la mission colombienne sur le net depuis le début du processus. Je n'ai pas grand-chose que je peux rajouter, puisque tous mes prédécesseurs sincèrement, pratiquement tout dit. Je ne peux que vraiment encourager le dialogue, insister dessus. Et le pays que je représente, effectivement, n'a pas une migration très forte. Mais je pense que, comme Madame Yaki l'a souligné, la diaspora, c'est une composante très pertinente, très importante pour nous. Et je pense que nous, en tant que Cameroun, on est là vraiment pour tirer profit et voir dans quelle mesure on peut amplifier, ou du moins gagner plus d'expertise, plus de connaissances et vraiment orienter à la migration sur un débat tout nouveau et vraiment positif. Je vais insister dessus. Alors, merci beaucoup à toute l'équipe, merci au GFMD et merci à tous les représentants de société civile et jeunes. Le débat est très riche, très interactif et très positif pour moi en tout cas. Merci beaucoup.
Je représente le gouvernement de la République du Mali. Avant de commencer, je voudrais joindre ma voix à celle de mes prédécesseurs pour féliciter et remercier la Colombie et ses partenaires pour la bonne organisation de ce forum mondial sur la migration et le développement. C'est une fierté pour moi de prendre la parole et c'est un plaisir d'écouter les panélistes qui ont fait des brillantes interventions dans le domaine de la migration. Je les félicite. Et je profite de cette occasion pour poser une petite question de compréhension à mon frère de la Tunisie, qui a parlé de l'organisation d'un atelier pour pouvoir mobiliser la diaspora tunisienne pour le développement de la Tunisie. C'est une question qui est assez importante. Et pour faire une question à laquelle je voudrais avoir plus d'informations. Parce que vous avez parlé des différentes recommandations qui ont été formulées. Je voudrais savoir s'il y a un dispositif qui a été mis en place par la Tunisie à travers une feuille de route et un plan d'action afin de pouvoir réaliser les différentes recommandations qui ont été formulées. Et puis ça m'intéresse aussi s'il est possible d'accéder aux documents afin de pouvoir utiliser ça, les mêmes dispositifs chez nous au Mali. Et puis je voudrais quand même réaffirmer tout ce qui a été dit dans la salle. La migration constitue une opportunité et non un défi. J'insiste, la migration constitue une opportunité, non seulement pour les pays d'accueil, mais également pour les pays de départ et non un défi. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
To extend this 1 minute, so I'll keep it at 30 seconds. Paris from the African United States Artists Platform. Thank you to Colombia for hosting us. And indeed, in terms of the visa facilitation, it's commendable, and we hope that something that the future member states can also take on to allow us to participate not only at the summit, but indeed in other forums. Agreeing with UNICEF on the format of roundtables, with the addition that facilitation rules be extended to civil society and other mechanisms to support, particularly because as we find civil society and other mechanisms is a great source of knowledge and perspective, as well as to adjusting to 15 agendas. Chair, the role of the chair remains important, and as for civil society, we'd like to ensure that there is consistency. So we're joining Colombia in speaking to member states to consider even a chairman, a co-chairmanship, if the load seems too heavy. You can rely on various partners within civil society and the regional platforms. We're quick on our feet, and we even have concept notes ready for you if you need inspiration for thematic issues. We feel given the difficult times that we're in, dealing with migrant sentiments should have a prominent space. So the inclusive dialogue is critical in shaping perspectives and in also changing minds and hearts. We're echoing member states on calls for dialogue that links to action and frank talk. And so for civil society, the GFMD is beyond the summit. It's a whole year process, and we commend the connection to the Global Compact on Migration. We hope it stays on the agenda as a feature so that we can see action and keep ourselves accountable as we dialogue in the GCM. To end, and as I will pass on to Stefan, to other member states, we ask that you continue to participate in the GFMD, not just with your time, but with resources, openness, and active participation. We know that it can feel different to convert a statement in a roundtable setup, but we have enjoyed having frank conversations in this format. Thank you.
Laura, I would like to thank Colombia, but I wouldn't like just to thank you like that. Even if it takes 2 minutes, I would like to highlight 4 points, which makes the chair of Colombia very special. And it won't take more than 3 minutes. First, what you are doing regarding migration and refugee protection. It's great to be an organizer, but it's better to be a model when it comes to migration policies. Regularization is smart, pays off, but it is also very courageous because it's not easy. And you did it at an unprecedented scale. So thank you for that. Secondly, for being an inspiring chair, bringing innovations and confirming that the GFMD is a space for true dialogue. Thirdly, for overcoming in such a short time the logistical challenges linked to the change of venue. We are very happy to be in Riohacha, closer to the communities and the migrants, in an environment which is different from the usual venues where conference centers often operate in isolation. This has been a true people-centered GFMD. Fourthly, and I think, Ambassador, you mentioned it is the first time that we have a head of state at the GFMD. And this is a powerful symbol of the importance of human mobility. Thank you to the IOM team, Camille, and before indeed Barbara. You did miracles. You were solution-oriented, so really, thank you. Thank you to the Colombian team, because Laura, you have been working for months and months. So a big thank you to those who have been involved for so long. But I also would like to thank the people who were at the venue, the ushers, the police, the cleaners, the people bringing food. They were all smiling. And this is such, again, powerful to see people smiling while they work so hard. Very briefly, I think we are in a world, and in many, unfortunately, parts of the world, where migrants die because they are not rescued, even when that is possible. We see an increasing number of migrants being denied emergency medical treatment, even emergency medical treatment. And we see children having no access to education. So in such an environment, the GFMD is not a luxury. It's non-duplication with the GCM. I think we all know the value, and I will not repeat what others have said. So finally, we believe that the mandate of the Troika in the coming months is first to indeed identify a new chair, and thank you for bringing a message of hope, but also to maybe keep working on what makes the GFMD different from the other process. We still need to sell the uniqueness of the GFMD. Thank you.